Why is there a difference between attack rolls and saving throws? I don't think there needs to be. I think keeping the math identical so that your hit chances are not affected in any way, and changing it so that instead of saving throw modifiers, you have defenses that are static. They are the DCs that offensive characters need to hit in order to affect you with a spell. I think that's a superior method. And those of you who have played 4th edition will recognize this concept, but I would actually take it even a step further than 4E did. I don't think that AC and reflex need to exist in the same system. I think that there's too much overlap. There's too much shared identity between those two ideas. Cleaning this up would actually be a significant step in improving the clarity and intuitiveness of 5e if it were done so. Because right now, if you want something to affect all offensive abilities, you would have to say, like, when you hit with an attack roll or when an enemy fails a saving throw on an effect that you have created, it's a lot. It's a very unwieldy way to have to write the rules if you want to have something that affects both. And fundamentally, they are the same thing. You are trying to affect somebody with an ability, and there is a die roll to see if you do. And I think it's unnecessarily complicated to have two different mechanics for the same thing. I recall a few times, because I didn't play Pathfinder 2nd edition for very long, just like a couple of months. And I found, like, when you make a saving throw versus when it's a defense to be pretty arbitrary most of the time. And 5e kind of, in as far as, what is an attack roll and what isn't, can be pretty arbitrary as well. So here's my proposal. All saving throws are instead defenses. Things that call for a saving throw, instead of having a DC, you use an attack. And you would use basically the same exact math. So, ability modifier plus proficiency plus any other bonuses that would normally apply. And by doing this, you clean up not only the rules, but you also clean up some of the inherent unfairness in the system. Because right now, marshals are restricted to attack rolls. And that kind of sucks. Because attack rolls care about cover. Attack rolls care about concealment. Ranged attack rolls care if there's an enemy next to you. Saving throw abilities don't care about any of that stuff. Saving throws are inherently superior to attack rolls, and a third of the classes in the game have basically no access to them. So by changing everything from saving throws into attack rolls versus different defenses, you actually take steps. Like, it doesn't solve everything, obviously. There's the problems with the martial caster disparity are extremely deeply rooted, and this would only be a step towards resolving it. But it would be a step towards resolving it. Like, don't refuse to take the step just because the journey is long. You got to start. Or go play a different game. That's the other obvious option. But if you were trying to improve 5th edition, you were trying to rework it. If I was a designer at Wizards of the Coast and I was like, how do we improve 5th edition for this new 1D&D? Before the first playtest packet came out, I would be an advocate for removing saving throws, make it all attack rolls. You could, in theory, do it the other way around. I think it's just more intuitive to have the offensive character making the roll. But I suppose if you wanted to have like an AC save, you could do that too. I guess it doesn't really change anything. That would help clean up the language. It would help make things a little bit more fair. And frankly, it would just, like, it makes the game more intuitive when there's a single mechanic for resolving something, rather than sometimes you use one mechanic, sometimes you use a different mechanic. When to use one and when not the other, who knows? Weapon users always use one. Spells sometimes use one. You know, it's an unnecessary divide. You don't gain anything either. This is especially glaring because 4th edition didn't have these kinds of saving throws. They did have a mechanic called saving throws, but it was a different thing entirely. It's just a duration mechanic. So going from 3rd edition, which has the, attack roll versus saving throw dichotomy, and then you go into 4th edition where everything's an attack roll, and then you go to 5th edition and they bring back saving throws, which means that this is a mechanic that had gone away and they resurrected. For what reason? What benefit is gained from using saving throws? I would posit that there's no benefit mechanically. The only actual benefit is to nostalgia. And nostalgia is a powerful marketing tool. And I think that is the sole reason and the sole benefit for saving throws coming back and not everything being an attack roll. And I think it's unnecessary, and it hurts the game in order to appeal to nostalgia. I think saving throws shouldn't exist. Honestly, I would prefer to go back to fortitude, reflex, and will. And actually, I think armor probably shouldn't be a factor in that. But I mean, that's redoing the game from like base level. Armor being AC and reducing your chance to be affected by an attack. That's old school D&D. That's always been in. You're never going to get that changed. That's kind of a sacred cow. It doesn't make a lot of sense if you think too hard about it, but I mean, it's kind of always been there, and it can work. It can mathematically work. It has in the past, even if it's not a great mechanic right now. AC as a thing in 5th edition is it's got its problems. But what I would do is I would do fortitude, reflex, and will as the 3 defenses that you have. Armor would be damage reduction. And that I think that it wouldn't solve problems, but it would help alleviate problems. It would lessen them. It would mitigate them. And I think that's probably worth a thought. Maybe in 6th edition, who knows? Maybe. I do think that 6 different saving throws is too many. And especially since most of them aren't going to be scaling at all over the course of a campaign, which means they get real bad. So, I think saving throws don't need to exist. Everything should be an attack roll. I think fewer defenses than 6 saves and an AC is probably a good idea. There's no real reason for this dynamic to exist other than to appeal to the old school grognards.